Hey friends, special announcement today. I have just hit 1 million views on this channel. Woo! Party dance. I want to thank everyone so much for being a part of this journey and helping to make my message here grow and connect with me. It's been such an incredible experience. And really, when I started this channel back in January of this year, I had absolutely no idea what was going to happen with it. But after kind of sitting on the idea for almost 4 years and making videos and then deleting them and really just getting caught up in the trap of self-doubt or expectations, yada, 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 I finally committed to posting regularly and pushing my message out there and just committing to having a creative project in my life. And it actually has taken off pretty well. I started the first video of this launch, I would say, was January 11th, 2024. And on September 13th, just a few days ago, I hit exactly 1 million views. So it took about 9 months to the day almost to hit 1 million views. Is that a long time or a short time? I have no idea. Relative to how many subscribers I have, I'm about like 8,200, something like that. Is that a lot of views or not a lot of views to how many subscribers? I have no idea, honestly. I've never watched any like YouTube tutorial type stuff on how to be a content creator, or I've never done any workshops or just watched other creators say, this is how I got a big following, because I never wanted to subscribe to anyone else's way of doing it. And for me, I set the parameter early on of like, okay, if I'm gonna do this, I've got to do it my way, and it can't be cringy, and it can't be begging for likes or subscribers or trying to do something to please the magical algorithm gods or doing what everyone else is doing. It had to be from the heart and authentic and what I genuinely want to share and express. And I will say that I think for the most part, I've adhered to that. So maybe you can let me know in the comments, is this a fast growth or a slow growth? I don't know. I don't necessarily care, because for me, the most important thing is just creating content that I feel connected to and want to share with the world. And it seems like the world is wanting to receive it. At least a fair amount of you are out there. So that has been really special for me to know that something from my heart is adding value to people. So thank you all for being a part of this incredible family here. And everyone here is so positive and loving and wanting to do better for themselves and the world. And I've seen so many of you all make friends with each other in the comments. I love when like 2 people will just go off in German and I'm like, I don't know what you're saying, but this is cool because you're in 2 different countries, but you are connecting through this space and helping each other with something. And so that's fantastic. So I want to say thank you so much to everyone here for being a part of my journey. And I've shared definitely some vulnerable type things on this channel, but I've been pretty transparent about my life in general. And for the most part, people have been incredibly positive and receptive and supportive of me and my journey. And all of you that are wishing me well with continued success on this channel, I see you and I hear you, and I appreciate you so much. So I wanted to share today a few things that I have learned and what the channel will look like, kind of my intention at least moving forward. Plans are always liquid though. And then a sort of little bonus fun thing at the end. So let's get into it. What have I learned now that I am a bona fide content creator? I mean, what do you have to be fit that definition? I don't know. I make content and I earn a little skosh of money from it, not a ton, but I'm grateful for anything that I do earn. I think that's cool to be able to be rewarded for your creativity. But the biggest payoff for me is knowing that I'm adding value to some people out there. So hopefully it will continue to grow. But what have I learned now that I'm a content creator? I've learned 3 main things. Are there more to this list? Yes, probably. These are just the 3 that have sort of jumped out. And none of them are really new things at all that I've learned, except for maybe some like technical skills. I've mentioned I'm like horrible with technology. So the fact that my YouTube channel is up and running and there were like certain little logistical things I had to figure out along the way, that was learning stuff. But these are 3 bigger life lessons that I think, though they're not new to me, they are worth mentioning and reiterating because they're all things that take a certain level of constant practice and awareness. So what are they? Number 1, don't take things personal. Yes, this is such an old adage, and I've certainly mentioned it in many of my videos, but when you put yourself out there as a content creator, it's a vulnerable place to be in, but it is a choice. No one's holding a gun to my head saying you need to put all your personal life on YouTube. This was a choice, and it came from a heart space, but you just have to know that if you are putting yourself out there online in any capacity, whether it's as Instagram or writing a blog post or videos or whatever, there's going to be critics out there, and not everyone's going to like you, and that's okay. And it's, there's such a wide variety of humans on this planet coming from vastly different circumstances with vastly different preferences and paths and journeys, and that is okay. And for the most part, I would say I've actually been extraordinarily lucky it's over 7,000 now. I think it's like 7,500 comments that I've received. I don't sit there and count them, by the way. YouTube Studio gives you analytics. I would say, I don't know, I'm pulling this out of my butt, but feeling wise, I would say 90% of them have been positive. And that's really, really wonderful. There's a lot of people out there that deal with a lot of just vicious hate, and it's very sad, and it doesn't make it okay, but it comes with the territory. This is YouTube land, it's the internet. People feel safe behind their keyboards, and they will even have handles that don't show their real name. So they really have no consequences for giving spewful, hateful things. And you just have to remind yourself at the end of the day, in any space in life, but it's really concentrated online, because again, there's no in-person repercussions to that negative exchange of energy. People could just be spewing things out on a keyboard and just move on to the next little wormhole that they can spew things out on. But you just have to remember, at the end of the day, it's not about you. That person is probably having a bad day or a bad year or a bad month, or got in a fight, or has really low self-esteem, doesn't know how to love themselves. They're dealing with trauma, maybe a death happened in their life. There could be infinite amount of things, and 9 out of 10 times it's really not about you, or maybe it's about what you represent. Certainly I talk about veganism a lot on this channel, and people that are not vegan will just sometimes automatically feel triggered, and they feel attacked, and so they want to attack me when I'm just saying, hey, this is what feels right for me. You've got to figure out what feels right for you. But sometimes that just doesn't, people aren't going to hear that all the time. If people are looking for a fight, they will find it, whether you're presenting conflicts or not. And a really funny example of that, if you want for any of you out there that kind of love trolling through the comment sections and seeing just ridiculous exchanges, you're out there, and it's fun to be entertained sometimes, as long as you're not just adding to the pile of hate. You can check out my video, why, I don't even remember what I titled it, why I don't regret not buying a house as an ultra minimalist. And it really was just a personal expression piece of hey, happy I don't own a home, but you do you. Here's some pros and cons, make your own decision. But for whatever reason, the algorithm kind of spat that out into a space way beyond the minimalism space. And it was to all the maximalists of the world, or not that necessarily that you're even a maximalist if you own a home. It just put it out to a way different sphere of people. And for whatever reason, this maelstrom of hate happened in that video, to where that was the first video where I got a barrage of just really negative, really personal attacking comments. And it was just because people were so against the message I was saying, but then they also took it to a personal level. And while I've done a lot of inner work, I'm not a robot. So yeah, my feelings got hurt on that one in particular, just because it was so much at once. But you have to, and even in that moment, I'm oh God, should I quit? This is terrible. This is toxic. Who wants to see all these mean comments about yourself? But you got to let it pass, and just know that it's really not about you. Those people were in the space that they're in, and they're going to be triggered no matter what. They probably are, write all sorts of comments on all sorts of videos, and it's just an opportunity to go deeper into your practice, and to just kind of put your shield up, put your bubble up, and try to offer compassion if you can. Although I will be honest, in that moment, did I have compassion for those people? Not really. But I at least was an opportunity to come back into my own strength, to my own power. No, I believe in my integrity. I believe in what I'm doing in the world, and I believe I'm trying to do a good thing for the world. And that's their shit, not mine. So then that's there's been other videos where there's like little trinkets of nonsense, if you will, but it's always an opportunity to strengthen in my resolve of, if you stand in your integrity, and I think this can go for everyone, if you stand in your integrity and believe in what you're giving to the world and come from a heart space, then that sort of creates a shield of that these sort of hateful comments can deflect off of, because at the end of the day, you are your best gauge of the value of what, not necessarily the value, but am I being a good person? Am I giving of my heart in the very best way that I can each day? Then that's really all that matters. And so that is a constant practice for any sphere in life, because we can have negative people at work, in social circles, or other dealings in life, if with your family, but just always coming back to not taking things so personal and putting your shield up and not relying on these outside influences to define who you are and what you stand for. So that's number one. Number two of what I've learned, boundaries are super important. I'm sort of kind of marinating on a video on this whole subject in general. You hear this kind of floating around the psychology / new agey energy spaces in the internet too. It's a popular topic, but I'm not going to talk about so much about relationship boundaries, but boundaries with your time and your energy and how you spend your day. Because prior to doing this channel, I had worked 2 jobs forever in life, and then I finally retired from teaching and was just doing the restaurant, and I was very much focused on slow living and healing and just having a calm and peaceful life, because this was a new experience for me. Wow, that sun is really coming in. Let's see if I can adjust you here. Okay, we're back. The lighting might be kind of a struggle today. The sun's setting, but it's also cloudy, so it's kind of all over the place, but we'll try to get through it here. You can at least hear me. Boundaries, what are we talking about? Prior to starting this channel, I was coming out of a place of very, very intentional slow living that I'd experienced for the first time in my life, and it was starting to become extremely sacred for me. So going into this new endeavor, it was a lot of time that I was starting to put in, and it was good because it was creative and felt authentic, and I was having a lot of fun doing it. But I noticed very quickly it was this constant dance of all of a sudden I'm doing too much and I feel burnt out, and then I'm exhausted at work, and then my content doesn't feel as good, or I'm sleeping less because I had too much screen time at night because I got jazzed about a video idea, or like comments were blowing up and I really wanted to get back to people. And so it's been this constant game of push-pull of wanting to create and get stuff done and connect with people, but then pulling it back to really strict rubrics. And I use the word strict in a positive way that I know keep my health and my mental health, my physical health, my emotional health, my spiritual health, all in balance. So do I have an exact formula to give you? No, of course not, because your life is your life and you probably have an entirely different to-do list and just needs than I do, but it's just constantly checking in with yourself of each day or each week, like what feels like balance and what feels like too much. And sometimes when you're in a creative flow, you can't always control. In fact, most of the times you can't control when things want to come out. So there may be a day where it is busy and you do work a lot later, and maybe you sleep a teeny bit less, but it felt really invigorating to get done what you got done. But then just knowing when I have a day like that the next day, then it's like, okay, I need to unplug in all the ways and have some serious horizontal time and go to the beach and eat good food and like social distance from my phone, like not respond to comments that day, or not, be coming up researching or whatever, or editing, just knowing that each day might not be exactly the same, and that's okay, because that's a natural, more, I think, flow of life. But knowing over the course of a week or even a month, just balancing out where it's going to be ebbs and flows of kind of hyper productivity and creativity, and then getting ahead of burnout before it happens, knowing like, okay, I'm starting to feel quite depleted, so I need a day of nothingness. I need to turn off my phone. It's okay if I don't get back to all those comments right away, because I need to take care of myself. So it's a constant game, I would say, and just it takes, there's certain things, sometimes it's on a to-do list for work or something, or school, where there is no unplug. It's like the deadline's the deadline. And you have to adhere to those things. But for things that are optional, it is always good to check in. Okay, does this really need to get done now? Or could I wait on it? Would it be more nourishing to just lay down for 45 minutes and put my feet up and have silence or listen to a sound bath? Like, yeah, sometimes it's that. And then you can come back refreshed and restored and able to create from a better place. So that is number 2. Boundaries are important. Number 3, I've talked about this before again, and this is all over the manifestation space of the internet, but it's definitely, as you take on new endeavors in life, there's always reminders of deep practices that are applicable for every arena of life. And this number 3 is release expectations, releasing expectations. It is wonderful to have goals and set intentions and dream big and all of that. But when you are so fixated on the outcome, it's a recipe for disappointment a lot of the times. And B, it can kind of just constrict your energy in general in the process of creating whatever you're doing or doing whatever you're doing. And C, it could also cut you off from something even greater. And just on the micro level of my YouTube channel, there's the videos, it's funny, there's some that I'm like, yeah, that'll probably do well. Like my second home tour video, I was like, I think people might want to watch this. And it ended up being my most popular video so far. So that's wonderful. But I really enjoyed making that video, and I was really enjoying being in my new space. So there was a lot of excitement behind it. So that often with anything in life, if there's a lot of excitement and good energy and creativity into something, oftentimes that will carry out into the results, so to speak, that you're thinking of, but sometimes it doesn't. And just a funny example is some of my videos that have done really well were very, not that any of them haven't come from a heart space, because they all have, but some of them are more technical and a little bit more black and white. For example, one where I went over everything I owned as my minimalist kitchen, and which was not, I always try to put in like fun little nuggets of like humor or just talking points, like symbolism to deeper spirituality behind my 2 forks or whatever. But it was still very technical, and I was just like, here's my kitchen shit. Like, take it or leave it. And this is why I have so little, and explained it. And it was just sort of like cut and dry, boom, boom, boom. And that video did extremely well really quickly, and that's great. That's anything that does well is wonderful. But then I've also had videos where I felt really deeply connected to something from a heart center, from a soul place, from just like a spiritual place of, oh wow, I really, really want to share this. And I felt very connected and present and just excited about what I was sharing, and felt really good about it. I filmed and like, yeah, okay, I'm really glad I shared this. I really hope I helped some people with this. And some of those videos got very little views, and that doesn't make it a failure. Even if I get one comment from someone saying, wow, that helped me so much, like that's wonderful. And even if I don't get those comments, the bigger picture is to release the expectation of the result and more pull back your barometer to, did I give my very best in this situation? Did I enjoy creating or speaking about or preparing or whatever in this moment? Did I enjoy the process or the journey of it and feel connected to source energy and give of my best self? If you did, then that's the success. As far as how many views something gets, like, yes, again, I said I've done work, but I'm not a robot. So sometimes in those it's not like a devastating, but it can sting like, oh wow, I got really excited about this video, and then the views are like, burr, 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 burr. That's the sound effect from The Price is Right, by the way, when they bet the wrong number. But sometimes it happens, and it's like, again, it's not devastating, but it's kind of like it can be a bummer. But it's just that constant reminder of, okay, that's not the actual metrics of success, because I have no control over what the algorithm gods are going to do, who's going to be tuning in that day, what's going on in people's lives, what's going to resonate, what's not, who's going to just accidentally stumble upon my channel. Like, there are so many unknown variables outside of my control that to put the weight onto my success into those is not going to be really helpful. Again, it just needs to come back to my own metrics, my own barometer, and this goes for everything, for every endeavor you take on in life. Like, did I give my best? Did I enjoy what I was doing? If so, then that's a success. So those are the 3 biggest reminders of sort of spiritual practices I can use in my YouTube creation and then take out to every arena in life. And as far as moving forward, what the channel is going to look like, I've been sitting on the idea for a little bit and toyed with it, and definitely went into some deep meditations about it, because I want to continue giving of something that's been really great for my creative side. But I want to do it in the most intentional way. And up until now, my very first month when I was committed, I said, screw this, I need to get off my butt and actually like do this. I posted every single day for a month, a mix of shorts and videos, but every day for a month. And that was a lot. I was like on fire with creativity, and it was awesome. But I quickly learned with having a full-time job and just being a creator in general, you don't just have this infinite well of creativity all the time, and also wanting to keep my cherished life of slow living and balance in check. A video every day for a month was not sustainable for me. Do other people do it? Yeah, totally. But again, everyone's got their own roadmap to success, and I'm not going to copy someone else's. So from pretty much February up until, with a few like exceptions, with some life circumstances that happened, I was moving, that was complicated. Well, not really complicated, but trying to find somewhere to live was complicated. For the most part, it had been 3 times a week for almost this entire time. So almost 6, 7-ish months. And that was a really good balance for me, because at the beginning, as a new content creator and not having put myself out there publicly, I had so much to say creatively, and so much, whether it was spiritual stuff or vegan stuff or minimalism stuff, which is like the core of this, but other philosophy stuff or performance art stuff I wanted to do. There was just so much that wanted to come out, and I wanted to share with people. And I felt like there was just not enough time sometimes. And those were those moments where I did sometimes get a little bit out of balance and approach burnout. I'm like, okay, no, gotta take a step back for a second. But because I was new here, there was so much to share. And am I out of things to share or not wanting to share anymore? No, absolutely not. There's still so much I want to connect with, but I want it to be extremely intentional and of high value to everyone that is watching. I don't want to be a content creator that just shells out content for the sake of views and talks about the same thing over and over and over and over. And no hate to channels that do that, because some people just, repetition's the mother of skill. If it's something you're learning or trying to get practice with and you need to hear the same things over and over to help guide you through your process, that is great. For me personally though, as an artist, I can't stand repeating myself or doing what I did last week or month or year. As a choreographer in synchronized swimming, I was the same. I want to create something new all the time. I don't want to just repeat what I've done, and or worse, repeat what other people are doing. That's one reason I never watch really hardly any other content on YouTube. One, it's speaking of boundaries, to balance out my screen time, because now I am between filming and editing and responding to comments on my screen way more than I used to be. The last thing I need to be doing is staring at the screen more to watch other people's content. But on the creative side of it, I don't want to be inadvertently copying other people. I know they suggest that in your YouTube algorithm and analytics, which I hardly ever look at, because it's a positive thing. Like, it's good to be inspired by other people. But for me personally, as an artist, it's just not how I work to like, oh, they're doing that, so let me do that too. Like, that doesn't vibe with me, and I don't think that's the best thing of value that I have to give. And even though it's, oh, this is trending, so I could make a video on this and that would get me views and grow the channel, I'm willing to play the game a little bit, but not that much. Like, I need to just do my own thing, my own way. And also on top of that, be having a balance again for my own life. I do have a project that I'm delving into outside of this. Am I ready to share anything about it yet? No, I am not, but hopefully things will keep unfolding in a good way, and I'll be able to share that with you in the upcoming future. But I do need energy to put into that, and I still have my full-time job. And then on top of that, I want to balance for all of you as the family here, because I talk so much about slow living and being your own barometer and hearing your own inner voice and not having a digital addiction in your life. I do not want to be a source of digital addiction in your life. So if I'm here talking about like peace and slow living, and don't, look at your screen too much, and don't be addicted to what gurus have to say, and then you're on my channel all day, every day, that's not exactly a cohesive thing. If you're new here, and I've done it too, and again, it's where you are on your learning curve. If you're new to minimalism and or new to the channel and you're excited to learn and connect and be passionate, like fantastic, yeah, you know, binge out. But I'm just talking to, as I enter this new phase of my channel, I'm not just gonna keep shelling out content for the sake of shelling out content to make money or get views or grow or whatever. I want it to be extraordinarily intentional and of value and something you can come and connect with if it resonates, but that is still in alignment with hopefully your own goals of living an intentional life and having a schedule that has meaning and balance to it. So, drum roll. Moving forward, we are going to be doing Minimal Mondays on this channel. Of course, who doesn't like some good alliteration? But Minimal Mondays, I love the ring of it. And also I think just the fresh start of Monday. Here's a wonderful video. Hopefully it's wonderful. I will do my best to make it wonderful or insightful or just educational or whatever, but here's some food for thought for the week, some intentions, something to dive into, something to work on at the start of your week. Of course, you don't have to watch it Monday. You can watch it whenever you have time to watch it, but Mondays are when I will be publishing. And it's just something to dive into for the week. And then you can pull out of internet land, internet space, and go back into the 3D world, or 5D for all you new agers out there, and be, focus on what you want to focus on in real world. So yes, that will be the plan. I'm moving forward. I will be posting just once on Mondays with the intention of it bringing the highest value that I can to you. Which brings me to this bonus. Well, it's not a surprise because it will be in the title of this, but as a celebration to this 1 million views that you have all helped me to reach this milestone, I'm going to do another Q&A. The last one was incredibly extensive. I had over 120 questions. It's awesome how many people wanted to participate. I'm going to rein it in a little bit this time because I covered 120 questions. I don't know how many more we're going to have this round, and I don't want to be redundant. So I'm going to answer the first 30 questions that show up in this comment, the first 30 unique. So if it's something I answered in one of the other four-part series, I might direct you there, or because that series in total was probably over 2 hours, I think. If it's just a quick answer, I'll answer you in the comments. Or if it's some people might have duplicate questions, but the first 30 sort of unique questions that I've not addressed yet, I will be answering those in a video series, probably 2 parts, like 15 each, so that I'm not just rapid firing, but can take time to dive deep and answer the question as thoroughly as possible. And yeah, so any questions you have, if you feel like asking, it can be anything minimalism related, vegan related, spirituality related, philosophy related, just about my personal life. I've shared a lot. I'm a pretty open book. If it's a totally inappropriate question, I'll skirt over it. But for the most part, I'm pretty open about my life. So I'm happy to share anything that you might want to know. First 30 questions that show up in this comment, I will tackle them in the next video. And other than that, my deepest gratitude to everyone here for being part of an incredible community and adding such nourishment and enrichment to my life. And I hope that we can all continue to grow here together and bring out the positive message of minimalism and intentional living to the world. All right, that's it for today. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.